So there the rifles are in my gun rack here in the cabin. While you cannot see it, in both instances, let me see if I can turn this. The breech is open. When I store rifles, I store them unloaded with the breech open. That is another safety measure just to make sure they don't go off. Some rifles are stored, or some pistols I'll store with a magazine in them, but those are the ones that are easy to get to in an emergency. When carrying a rifle, you'll want to carry it in this manner. Or, if it has a sling, slung over your shoulder. Carrying it in this manner, you have the muzzle pointed up and away. So if it was to go off, even though I've got the breech open, if it was to go off for some reason, the bullet would shoot up and away, and I'm not pointing it towards anyone. You always need to know where that muzzle's pointing so you know what's in range. That brings me to another subject. What is in range? I have had so many people make comments like, oh, I'm out shooting, for example, and they'll say, well, what's out behind it? And I'll tell them, 500 yards out, there's nothing, trees. I've had people say, oh, well, what's a mile out? Because that rifle can shoot a mile. Yes, the 8mm can shoot a mile, but that's not a flat mile. So, for example, if I have this rifle, and this is a high power rifle, and I put it to my shoulder and I am pointing it like so, that is a flat shot. I may be elevated a little bit, but it's pretty much a flat shot. Now, measuring from my shoulder to the floor is about 5 feet. The fall time of an object dropped from shoulder level to the floor is 0.56 seconds. I've already calculated that up. And if you'll remember from physics, two objects dropped at the same time in a vacuum will hit the ground at the same time. That also applies for objects fired from a gun. So if I take a bullet like this and drop it from shoulder level, that takes 0.56 seconds to hit the ground. That same bullet fired from a rifle on a flat trajectory will hit the ground in 0.56 seconds. So we know how long it takes the bullet exiting the barrel before it hits the ground. All we now need to know is, what's the muzzle velocity when you fire this thing? I didn't look it up. I don't know right off the top of my head. But let's say it's 1,800 feet per second. If it's 1,800 feet per second muzzle velocity, we know we have 0.56 seconds. Let me get my calculator out. Alright, we know we have 0.56 seconds, and we know we have 1,800 feet per second. We have 0.56 seconds to hit the ground. That means in 1,800 feet, I don't know if you can see this or not, that bullet's going to hit the ground. Or in 336 yards. So all I really need to know is what's about 300 to 400 yards behind it. I usually go 400 to 500 yards as a general rule. That way I know where that bullet's going to hit the ground. Now, if you don't believe me that a bullet fired and a bullet dropped will hit the ground at the same time, the Mythbusters did this. They got a place that was big enough. They set up a machine to do the drop at the same time the gun was fired, and they actually have a picture of both bullets hitting the ground, the one fired and the one dropped, at the exact same time. So it's physics. If you aim up a little bit, you're gaining a trajectory. Trajectory calculations are a pain, but you're adding distance to it.